I'm going to demonstrate for you today the construction of my favorite alcohol burning cat stove. Here's the equipment that you will need. A stack of paper that is high enough so that when a Sharpie or pen is placed upon it, the point of the pen is 5/8 inches from the point to the table. You'll also need something that will punch a 1/8 inch hole. I use a step bit or unibit that starts off at 1/8 inch. You could use another drill, nail, whatever will punch a 1/8 inch hole. You'll need fairly good scissors, a pop rivet tool with 3 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch pop rivets. Aluminum is very handy. Also a paper punch that punches a 1/4 inch hole. You'll need a tape measure, and this comes in handy when you try to cut through the rim of the cat food cans. You'll need 3 3-ounce cat food cans and 1 5.5 ounce cat food can. Here is a completed stove, and here is the completed system. To begin with, you take a 3-ounce can and you mark them 5/8 inches from the bottom in this manner. You mark all 3 of them in that manner. Then you take 2 of them and you place the tape measure around the can and mark the entire perimeter at 1/2 inch intervals on 2 of the 3-ounce cat food cans. That completes the marking that you will have to do. Now you take one of the cat food cans and you cut it off at the 5/8 inch mark so that you end up with the bottom of a can that looks like this. Then you take that portion of the can and right next to the edge you drill a 1/8 inch hole. Then you take your scissors and you slice that can from the edge down to that 1/8 inch hole that you drilled. We're making the stove stand at this point. Now you take the 5.5 ounce can, you center the smaller 3-ounce can on the bottom of the 5.5 ounce can, and drill a hole. Use your pop rivet and pop rivet. I make 3 pop rivets. 1, 2, 3. You drill and pop rivet, drill and pop rivet, drill and pop rivet. That is your cat stove stand. Now, to make the stoves themselves, you take one of the cans that you marked at 1/2 inch intervals around the perimeter. You take your punch, and right on the edge of the 5/8 inch mark, you punch 15 holes all the way around the can like that. See? 15 holes. Now, once you have that bottom row of holes punched, come up about 1/4 inch from the rim of the can and staggered in between the bottom row of holes, punch another row of holes so that you end up with a can that looks like that. That is your boiler can. Okay? Now, to make your simmer can, you simply take the other can that you've marked at 1/2 inch intervals and you only punch 1 row of holes roughly 1/4 inch from the edge of the rim of the can. It reduces the amount of oxygen to the can so that it will burn longer, and you can actually simmer for maybe up to 15-20 minutes, depending on how much alcohol you put in it. There you have completed your stove. That's it. You have a boiler and you have a summer stove. They can actually fit together like that when you pack them. Now, there are three things that make this system work. The first is the stove stand, which elevates the stove from the ground. You will lose some heat. If that stove is sitting on the ground, it will absorb some of the heat from the burn. If it's on the stand, insulated from the ground, you'll get more heat from the alcohol that you place in the stove. The second thing that makes it work is a windbreak. You just simply cannot use alcohol without a windbreak. You have a hole at the bottom for ventilation, and you cut out a hole for the handle of your cook pot, whatever size cook pot you're using, if it has a handle. And this is simply aluminum flashing from Home Depot, which is about a quarter to a half inch larger in circumference than your cook pot is, so that the flames will be, and the heat and the flames, will be directed up the side of your pot. Now, the third thing that makes this work, and is just absolutely essential for any alcohol burning stove, is a lid. You notice I already got the stove packed in my pot. So you have to have a lid, you have to have a windscreen, and it has to be elevated with a stove stand above the ground. That's the system that I use, and it's worked very well. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.